The evening sun cast long shadows as I pulled up to a house on my pizza delivery route. I'd been to countless homes in my years as a delivery driver, but something about this one immediately unsettled me. The instructions on the receipt were clear. Delivered to the backyard. The house itself looked ordinary enough, but the windows were unusually dark, almost as if they were painted over or heavily curtained. I hesitated, considering whether it would be safer to just knock on the front door, but I decided to follow the instructions. They had tipped generously in advance. The wooden gate to the backyard creaked loudly when I pushed it open. Tall fences obscured the neighbors' views. Despite the evening sun, the backyard was eerily silent and shaded, making it seem almost night. I took cautious steps, my shoes crunching on the gravel pathway. That's when I noticed the first hole. It was freshly dug, about the size of a pizza box. A little further on, there was another, and then another. A chill ran down my spine as I realized that each hole looked as if it was made to fit a pizza box perfectly. My heartbeat quickened. Were those other pizza deliveries? From other places, maybe? But the strangest part was that next to each hole was a small mound of dirt, with a pizza box half buried, as if someone had started to bury it and then gave up halfway. The logos were different. Some from chains I recognized, some from local pizzerias. I considered dropping the pizza and running, but a morbid curiosity took over. I knelt down beside the closest mound and opened one of the boxes. Inside, the pizza was untouched, but there was a note. It wasn't right. My mind raced. Were they looking for a perfect pizza? Why bury them? Why the notes? My hands shook, but I pressed on, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity. Each box had similar notes. Too cold, wrong toppings, late. I stood up abruptly, feeling a wave of dread wash over me. There, across the yard, was a final hole. It was larger, more elongated than the others. I didn't want to imagine what or who it was intended for. Suddenly, a back door creaked, shattering the silence. The shadows seemed to dance menacingly. I heard muffled voices from inside the house, and my gut told me they were discussing the imperfect pizzas. I couldn't stay there. Not another minute. With the pizza still in my hand, I began to retreat slowly, making sure not to make a sound. Each step was agonizingly slow, the weight of terror pressing down on me. Just as I reached the gate, a voice pierced the silence. "Did you bring my pizza?" I didn't turn around. My every instinct screamed at me to run. I bolted, leaving the gate swinging. As I reached my car, tires screeching, I heard a chilling scream from the house, filled with rage and disappointment. I drove away faster than I ever had before, the haunting scene in the backyard forever etched in my memory. My manager didn't believe me. Nobody did. I quit that job, never to deliver a pizza again. But the thing that haunts me to this day, more than the holes, more than the half-buried pizzas, is the thought of that final, elongated hole. Because every time I close my eyes, I see it, waiting for the next imperfect delivery. I pulled up to the house, the familiar scent of freshly baked pizza wafting from the back seat. The residence before me was like any other in the neighborhood, except for one peculiarity. I had never delivered here before, yet something about it felt eerily familiar. I approached the door and knocked. The chime of a distant clock filled the silence between my knocks. The door opened to reveal a middle-aged couple, their faces lighting up with recognition. "Ah, there you are. We've been waiting for you," the man exclaimed, his eyes crinkling into a warm smile. Confused, I responded, "I have your pizza here." The woman, her eyes moist with emotion, stepped forward. "You don't recognize us?" I tried to recall, but I was certain I'd never seen them before. "I'm sorry, I don't think we've met." The man chuckled. "Always the joker. Come in. We've got something to show you." Against my better judgment, curiosity won, and I stepped inside. They led me to a living room adorned with family photographs. To my shock, there I was in every frame. Family vacations, holidays, even a picture that looked like a graduation ceremony. How is this possible? I whispered, my mind racing. The woman's voice took on a soft, maternal tone. Don't you remember? This is your home. These are your memories. Terror gripped me. I began to remember fragments, like shards of a shattered mirror. A childhood bedroom, a pet dog, the scent of the woman's perfume. But I'm a pizza delivery person, I stammered, trying to grasp at my reality. The man sighed. That accident really did a number on you, but we're here to help you remember. Suddenly, a rush of memories flooded me. A car crash, hospital lights, voices saying I might never remember my past. The couple comforted me, recounting stories of my supposed childhood. Each tale felt authentic, like a rediscovered piece of my soul. Hours passed, and night fell. My car, my job, my life as a pizza delivery person started to seem like a distant dream. But just as I was beginning to accept this new reality, a chilling doubt crept in. In the bathroom, trying to find a moment alone, I rummaged through the medicine cabinet. Hidden behind bottles and pills was a photo, much older than the rest. It showed the couple, looking almost the same age, with another young man. On the back, scribbled in faded ink, were the words, "Our dear son, forever missed." My heart raced. If they were the same age then, who was I? I stealthily made my way to the front door, but the man appeared, blocking my path. "Leaving so soon? We've missed you so much." The woman's voice echoed from the kitchen. "Stay with us. Forever." Their smiles didn't reach their eyes, which were filled with a mix of sadness and madness. In a desperate move, I threw the pizza box at the man, momentarily disorienting him. I bolted from the house, not looking back, my heart pounding in my chest. Once I reached the safety of my car, I drove as fast as I could, the haunting image of the old photograph etched in my mind. The next day, my curiosity got the better of me. I researched the address. The house had been abandoned for years after a tragic car accident claimed the life of the couple's only son. They had never moved on, their spirits trapped in a never-ending cycle of grief. Local legend had it they were always searching for a replacement for their lost child, luring unsuspecting souls with false memories. I quit my job that very day, never to return to that neighborhood. But the experience left me with an existential fear. How much of our memories are truly ours, and how easily can they be rewritten? I had a regular route for my pizza deliveries. Every house had its own quirks, and every resident their unique habits. But there was this one house that always left me feeling uneasy. The house itself was unremarkable. It was the mute child who lived there that unsettled me. Every time I delivered to this home, the door was answered not by an adult, but by this young boy. He never spoke, never made any noise, and never showed any emotion. His eyes, large and piercing, seemed to contain a world of pain and secrets. Every time he'd just point to a room inside, then leave me waiting at the door. One particularly stormy night, as lightning crackled across the sky and rain pelted my windshield, I made my way to this house with a fresh pizza. The house looked even more ominous with the shadows cast by the intermittent lightning. When I rang the bell, the door opened just a crack. The boy's eyes peered out. This time, he didn't just point. He took a hesitant step outside, looking around nervously. Then, with surprising strength, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside, shutting the door behind us. The dimly lit hallway was eerily silent, save for the distant rumble of thunder. He led me deeper into the house, pointing to a door at the end of the corridor. There was an urgency in his movements, a plea in his eyes. When we reached the door, he gently pushed it open. What lay beyond sent shivers down my spine. The room was filled with drawings, each more disturbing than the last. Images of a family, with one member always crossed out. Drawings of the house, with arrows pointing to hidden compartments. And in the center, a huge drawing of the boy, mouth open in a scream, with a word written over and over again. "Help." The boy tugged at my sleeve, pointing to a specific part of the drawing, an image of the basement door. He then motioned for me to follow him. The descent into the basement was harrowing. Each step on the creaky stairs echoed in the silence. When we reached the bottom, the boy switched on a dim light. The basement looked like a scene straight out of a horror movie. Chains hung from the walls, and in the corner there was a small makeshift bed. It was clear the boy had been kept there. But what truly horrified me was the sight of another child, bound and gagged, eyes filled with terror. Without wasting a moment, I rushed forward, freeing the terrified child. As I did, I heard a noise from above, the unmistakable sound of the front door slamming shut. Panic filled me. We weren't alone. The mute boy pointed to a small window, urging us to escape. But as we approached it, the basement door creaked open. Silhouetted against the light from upstairs was a figure, watching us. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Every second felt like an eternity. But then, the unexpected happened. The boy, finding his voice, let out a deafening scream. The figure at the top of the stairs staggered back, momentarily disoriented. Using the opportunity, I grabbed both kids and hoisted them up to the window, urging them to run as far away as they could. As I clambered out myself, I could hear footsteps approaching fast. Barely sparing a glance behind, I ran, the rain soaking us, the thunder drowning out our frantic footsteps. Finally, we reached the safety of my car, and I drove away at breakneck speed. It wasn't long before the police surrounded the house. Inside, they found evidence of years of torment and imprisonment. The mute boy and the other child had been kidnapped and held captive for years. Their captor? An unassuming resident of the town, hiding his dark secrets behind closed doors. The boy, with time and therapy, started speaking again. The two kids were united with their real families, and the town hailed me as a hero. But the experience scarred me for life. The house was demolished, the horrors within buried forever.